you ever did for 9 years in this league. You were a low post scorer with skills and strength.
Yeah, he got nice touch around the basket. Yeah, he can finish with either hand.
Yeah, and by the way, that shot that he made last night, it was 5 minutes and something left in the first quarter. If we could see this, Drew Holiday said it was a bad pass on his part, and look what Lopez does with it. Lopez goes up, he said it was a lob, and he just threw it way behind him, and he went clear back behind him and caught it and slammed it. And I read these quotes from Bobby Portis this morning. Guys don't even understand how athletic Brook is to do the things he does. He said, I was watching that from the top of the key, and I saw him coming, and I thought, wait, that's out of bounds, meaning the pass. And he dunked it. And he goes on to say, that was a special moment. Well, again, Brook Lopez is pretty talented. He's not young. I'm not saying he's better than Giannis, but is he a better fit for them as a playoff team than Giannis? Does he make it easier for the ball to move?
Of course.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, Skip. Because he can shoot from the outside, it's really, well, how do we defend him? Well, we let him defend himself because we just let him camp outside and we don't have to worry about him in the paint. Because you can't have two guys occupying the paint. Giannis has to be in the paint. Because Giannis ain't shooting no mid-range, and he's not a very good three-point shooter. He shoots like 19% from the three in the playoffs.
All right.
So I get what you're saying. I don't believe they're necessarily better without Giannis, Skip, because like you said, he's a walking 30-12 guy every night. He's had the exact same numbers in the regular season, because you could even make a case, Skip. He had the same numbers he had when he won the MVP. Nothing's changed. He got the exact same numbers. He's on the defense. He's a unanimous defensive, all-defensive player. But Brook Lopez, he's like, you know what? I'm going to make an effort. I'm going to stay in the paint. 14 of 18. He took 2 threes. That was too many. So if he doesn't take theirs, he's 14 of 16.
He missed both of them.
Yes.
So he didn't have a 3 last night, and they won by 11. What does that tell you? Well, it works this way, too. You can do it a different way. And I love what Brook said after the game. Brook Lopez is I know him a little bit. We've had him on other shows that I've done, but he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And he has low ego, so he's easy to play with. And he said after the game, as cliched as this sounds, what's great about tonight is we were all basketball players playing together on offense and defense. We were playing off one another, making plays, making extra passes. It was a lot of fun tonight. Do you think it's a whole lot of fun to play with Giannis every night? It's not. It's fun to win with Giannis, and you're going to win a whole lot of regular season games with Giannis, and occasionally you're going to just dominate the Miami Heat in the postseason.
Because guess what you do, Skip? You throw the ball into Giannis, and you stand around and you watch. And then you watch him try to spin, and then you watch him back it out, try to get a running start to try to come downhill, a Euro step, or dunk the ball. That's what, that ain't no fun.
Okay. And I've always wondered about, is he that guy? Is he an alpha? Is he a leader? Is he a tone setter? Does he have that killer will in him, Giannis? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I've never been sure about him as the player on the team that he could take to the championship. I'm just not sure. Again, I'm not making a case that Brook Lopez is better than Giannis in a vacuum because he's clearly not. But Brook Lopez is still pretty, he's 33 now, but he knows how to play. And he can play with physicality and force. He's not a huge rebounder, but he sets a tone in the paint that Giannis doesn't set.
I believe this gives Milwaukee the luxury of not playing Giannis because now you got a guy that can occupy the block and give you production down there, Skip. And that's what you need. So now if you want to come double Brook, now Clint Capella's like, we don't need to double him. I can more than hold my own. He had a good game. I'll redeem myself on Saturday. But they can get what they want in the paint. But the difference is, Skip, when Giannis is there, everybody can't be in the paint. Lopez can't be in the paint. Middleton can't be on the low block. It's hard for Holiday because his guy's right there, and Clint Capella's going to end up blocking the shot. So they play a different type of ball game. Like he said, the ball move. We're 5-on-5. We have to stay connected. We don't have to count on one guy to go give us 30 and 20 in order for us to win. Everybody's doing their part. Skip, the starters scored all but what? 12 points?
Yeah. And look at the look at the percentage of makes on the starters. That they're all just making half or more of their shots.
Yes. So Bobby Portis was huge for them. They cleaned up the Hawks on the board 47-10, and because in Game 4 they were minus in the paint, which means the Hawks scored more than they did in the paint. They crushed the Hawks in the paint on yesterday.
36 minutes for Bobby Portis. I've always liked him because he got the nickname in his first year in Chicago. And by the way, he was the 22nd overall pick in 2015 for the Bulls. They call him Crazy Eyes because he's got that crazy look in his eyes. But he seems like a good guy, and the fans love him because he plays so hard and so, like, crazy hard, right?
You said he packs a punch. Mirotic
well, he literally. I mean, they got into it, and I think Mirotic charged him, and that was a mistake on somebody's part because Portis just decked him.
Yeah, and it ended up, I think he broke his jaw, broke his eye socket or something. They ended up having to treat.
Portis was never the same in Chicago. I never. It felt like there was ill will.
When situations like that happen, normally it's best that you separate the two. Well, somebody has to go.
They finally did. But if you look at his career, Bobby Portis has 4 games of 30-plus scoring, and 1 year in Chicago is his last year. He scored 38 in a game. I'm just saying, there's firepower there, right?
Yeah, he can score. But the thing is, Skip, I think that a lot of times when a guy's been a starter, and all of a sudden he becomes a role player, and he's just not any role player, Skip, because sometimes he might play 20 minutes and then the next night he might play 5 minutes. So it's hard for him to get a rhythm. He knows, like, I'm the starter. I know I'm going to play at least 30 minutes tonight. So now he can relax and be himself. He gets the rebound. I'm watching him sprinting the court. So that's the difference between what they had, the 5 men they had on the court last night, minus Giannis. Because Giannis occupies so much space. Skip, you got to give him the ball. He is a 2-time MVP. He's going to demand the ball. And we get that. Nobody's saying otherwise. But you unlocked Brook Lopez's full potential.
You did.
You unlocked Bobby Portis's full potential. Other guys get to do like, hey, I can go in here without Giannis being in there and Giannis, man, possibly blocking my shot. So we saw them on full display, but I expect the Hawks to play better. They didn't play basketball, but they just got up to that slow start, and they had to play uphill for the entire ball game.
I was so disappointed in a Nate McMillan coach team because they literally just got punched in the mouth to start the game. They weren't ready for the physicality that Milwaukee, starting with Brook Lopez, brought. And so I'm looking at the first quarter stats. John Collins, I've been a big fan on the bandwagon, 0 for 5 in the first quarter. Herter, who's had his moments, was 0 for 4 in the first quarter. And Gallinari was 1 for 4 in the first quarter. And guess what happened? At one point, they trailed by 20 points. And once you dig a hole that deep on the road, it's just hard to dig out of that.
The thing is, Skip, they probably should have been down 30 because they shot 27% from the 2, 22% from the 3. Milwaukee shooting 57% from the 2. But guess what we want to do, Skip? We got to get them 10. We got to get our quota here. Remember, they 2 or 10 from the 3. Why would you, if you're shooting almost 58% from the 2, why would you even... That's what...
I don't know. But listen, those guys, like Chris Middleton last night had 13 rebounds. That's pretty good. How about Tucker had 11 rebounds? So he contributed. And then look at the assists. Drew Holiday had 13 assists to go along with 25 points. Well, that's an all-star performance. So if you add that all up, if they bring that to Atlanta, which is who knows what's going to happen. But if they bring that kind of firepower to Atlanta, if Trey can't go, Atlanta's going to have a hard time.
Skip, we just haven't seen Milwaukee play with the consistency, game in and game out. It seems like their backs need to be against the wall because we saw them got blowed out twice against the Nets.
They did.
And then we see them go against Atlanta with no Trey Young, and what happened? They're getting blown out. And then Giannis gets hurt, and then they take off on a 25-10 run, and they blow the game wide open. So do you expect, what Milwaukee are we going to see? Are we going to see the Milwaukee last night or the Milwaukee from Game 2? Because remember, they came out there loafing in Game 1. Trey dropped 48-11. They get beat on their home court. So I don't really know what Milwaukee Bucks team I'm going to see on Saturday night.
Okay, so they keep saying on TNT that both Giannis's injury and Trey's injury are just a matter of pain tolerance. Can you suck it up and handle the pain? To the point that they're saying in both cases it can't get any worse if you can just handle the pain. Well, maybe it's time for Trey just to suck it up and say, I got to try.
Man, it's Skip. You know what? If it was an injury that you can give some numbing medication, but it's hard to play when every time you move there's a sharp pain. That pain, like ooh.
I got it. But I'm going to remind everybody, here are 2 franchises that have a chance to get to the NBA Finals that they might not ever have again. Not like this. The path is cleared. And Giannis hasn't been there, obviously, and Trey might wake up in 5 or 7 or 10 years from now and say, gee, I had my one shot and I didn't seize the day.
And that's how it works, Skip. Everything opened up.
Yep.
For everybody. I mean,